Hey there friends, it's Missy again. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm back with a new layout for the Paige Evans design team. And for this layout, I decided to start with these awesome layerable stamps from the Turn the Page collection. I don't think I've even used these yet, and that is crazy. And so I thought I'm going to use them today. So I pulled out some white smooth cardstock to use as my background, and I'm going to use clear gesso here before I do anything, because I know I'm going to be adding some ink and some liquid sprays and probably some distress ink. I know I'm going to be adding something to it, and so I want to go ahead and prep my page. I was drawn toward the stars for some reason, and so I thought I'm going to make a star background, and I'm going to do something I haven't done in forever, and that is emboss. And so I just pulled out my little bottle of embossing ink, and it's kind of like an ink pad, but it's just in this little dauber bottle, and you just dab it onto your stamp and turn it over and stamp it down. And there are two stars on this stamp set. One is a little bit bigger than the other, and one is more of a full solid stamp, and the other one has like an outline of a dotted line, and it's more open. So I just used clear embossing powder, dumped it on top of the wet ink, and then I'm going to use my heat tool to dry it. And if you've never watched something dry with embossing powder on it, it is magic, because it just starts to shine and dry, and then you can see here what it looks like in the light. It's very slick and very shiny, and it's going to act as a resist. And so when I start to add color over it, the stars are going to resist the color. So I did a lot more stars off camera. I did a big cluster over to the left and then kind of created a big circle. It's kind of a messy, wonky circle, but you'll see how it starts to form here. I pulled out some distress oxides in different blues and aqua green color, and then I'm just using my ink foam blending tool and kind of smudging the color on in little circular motion, and you can already see the stars are starting to appear, and it's like magic. And in a minute I'm going to take a napkin and kind of wipe the stars off, and they're really going to jump off the page. And so I haven't used any liquid yet. This is just dry ink, and so what happens when you wipe it off, you can really see it stand out, and I think that is so pretty. I got all excited there for a second because I was loving how this was turning out. So my design idea was to create a really tight cluster of stars and then kind of spread them out as it went over toward the right. And it just wound up kind of creating a circle, and I'm going to go with it. I just was kind of experimenting here, honestly, in the beginning to see what I could do with the stamps and how an embossed background would look. And I wound up really liking it. And I love using the Distress Oxides dry like this because you can really fade out the edges and just make it look hazy and smoky, and I love that. So I decided to go with the star theme here since I had all those stars in the background, and so I went through Paige's cut files, and she has several different star cut files, and I chose this one. This one is the Concentric Stars cut file, and you can kind of see it's like nesting dolls. It just starts small and gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you could do so many things with these. I cut these from 4 different collections of papers. I used Fancy Free, I used Turn the Page, Take Me Away, and Pick Me Up. And my color scheme is going to be mostly the light aqua color that you see there, a light pink, a light coral, and yellow. So it's going to be a soft layout, nothing really too dark or harsh. I'm just adding some splatters here. I went back with those Distress Oxides and stamped them onto some plastic, watered them down just a little bit, and then used my brush to splatter the ink down. And then these are a couple of shimmers that also coordinate nicely that I'm gonna splatter on the background there. And the cool thing about this Concentric Stars cut file is you not only get the skinny outline of the hearts, but you also get the inside full stars. Did I say hearts? Stars. Now I'm all confused. Stars. If I say hearts, I mean stars. I'm going to use a pull photo because it just matches perfectly, and I just thought it was cute, and I couldn't wait to use it because it just matched the background perfectly. So once I got the stars on there, I thought I need to cover in this white area in the middle of the circle, and so I pulled out more of a corally pink color and a mustardy yellow color there, and so little bit different color scheme going on right there in the middle. And I like how that is looking. So what I'm going to do here is go ahead and glue down the cut file. And I'm going to put the stars in just like you saw in there. And I'm going to go ahead and finalize the background. And there are positives and negatives to making a background like this. The positives are, one, it looks fantastic and it's beautiful. And you've already got your background done, and so the rest of it is just placing everything else down, like your photo and all your embellishments. But the downside is it's permanent. You know, I've glued that star down. I cannot move it. It looks gorgeous. I love the background. Hahowever, when I started to put my photo back, I thought, I don't want to cover up all the cluster of stars. So then I start to hem-haw around and turn the page this way and that way. I'm just showing you there that I stitched around some of the stars, because once I saw the cut or the insides of the stars, I was like, these are beautiful. I don't want to not use these. I hadn't planned on using those. I had planned on just using the skinny pieces, but here we go again with our idea originally one way and we totally change it, because that's just the way it goes. So I'm going to go ahead and staple that together because I love how that looks kind of in a messy layer, but now everything's getting covered up. So here I'm like, oh, I don't want to cover up all the stars. So then I think about it. I kind of start to play around with things. Do I want to add more stars? Nope. Turn it this way, turn it that way. I just didn't like the way the big star was tilting to the left. So I thought, okay, you got to pick a way and just leave it and go with it. In the meantime, I knew I wanted to add some more things for layering. And so I went to this gorgeous floral paper. I know you've all seen it before. It's Turn the Page paper number 1, and it's got all those beautiful flowers on it. And I just fussy cut a few of them out, and I'm going to use them as layers. And again, I had not planned on using flowers because normally soft, beautiful flowers don't go with stars because stars have harsh edges and flowers are so soft and pretty. But guess what? I'm going to use both of them here and it's going to be okay. I found a couple of stars from the Turn the Page chipboard and I'm going to use those as well. And then I'm going to glue everything down. And I know that I'm covering up that big cluster chunk of stars, but I just felt like there was nowhere else for my photo to go. And this is a case of I wish I wouldn't have glued down the big star like I did. I wish I would have turned the page a couple of times and see how it looked, but it's okay. I think it turns out great in the end. And the good thing about this is I can always make another background because this was really easy to make. So never fear. If you do cover up something and you wish you wouldn't have, just make another one and go for it. I'm going to add in some thread. That is some aqua color thread just to kind of add a little bit of a darker tone. Not too dark because it's pretty thin. I didn't really want it to be a dark color, but you know, just add a little bit of a pop of something in those areas. And then for my title, I was originally going to make it She's a Star and kind of play off of all the stars, but I ran out of S's and I didn't want to open up a new pack. I do have a spare pack of those white mini thickers from Pick Me Up, but I didn't want to open them. And so I just changed the title to be My Little Star. And then I used the regular thickers from Pick Me Up to create the word star. And then I found this coral and white striped journaling spot from Pick Me Up. And I just tore it in half and I'm going to use it as a layering piece because it matched. It was the perfect color. And then I'm going to come in with some more thread. What color is that? I think it's light pink. And that's just a subtle detail there. It's not anything that's going to take away from the star or the photos. Now this is the chipboard sheet from Pick Me Up, and I just was going through it looking for little tidbits that I could add that matched. This tag matched, but the top part of it didn't. So I just cut it off. And it says, Be Your Beautiful Self. And I love that. And I'm going to use it. It matches. And it's going to go right there in the upper left corner. And this is a little piece that says smile, because she was just having a fun day in the pool, and actually caught her looking at me and smiling, and her eyes are open. Score, cute picture alert. I don't even know how many pool pictures I've taken in my life, and I don't care. I keep taking them because they just are always my favorite. I'm flipping through Paige's 30-page sticker book here, and there are so many stickers. I think I've used this thing on my last several layouts in some way, shape, or form. It's got so many things, and everything is so versatile. I mean, you name it and it is in there. Every shape you can think of. And I decided to go with a flower, a yellow flower sticker that I'm going to find here in just a minute. I thought about using one of these phrase stickers with the gold foil, and I liked it, but when I stuck it down on top of that coral piece, it just looked too dark, and it kind of, my eye goes straight to that, and I didn't want that, and so I chose to put it back. And then I almost used this little piece here that says love you, but put it back. Oh yeah, I forgot. I do use this row of stars, this little border sticker of stars, because it was yellow, it matched, and it was stars, and I love how that looks down there. And then here's where I picked a yellow flower, and I'm going to cut it in half. Even though it's a small sticker, I'm going to make it stretch. I'm going to cut it in half and use a piece on each side there. And then once I got to looking at things, oh yeah, I did some stitching, just some straight stitching through those pieces there. I felt like I needed something in a couple of spaces, so I pulled out a star punch from my stash and some vellum from my stash, and I'm going to add these little pieces in, and it's going to make all the difference, even though they're very subtle. And I love that you can do so much with vellum. I'm going to tuck in a couple of those stars in the open area at the top, and then just a couple scattered here and there around the page, and I'm going to curl up the edges so they really create a little bit of dimension, even though it's almost like ghost stars, because you can see them, but they're not clear, but they're very subtle. You know, you don't see them right away. They're one of those things that is just a detail. Once you look at the layout up close, you're like, ooh, I see some vellum, that type of thing. And that's the beauty of vellum, is it can make such a statement, but at the same time be subtle. So I'm going to glue those down, and I think that really finished off any space that needed to be filled with something. I felt like that was the trick. And then I'm going to just add a couple of lines and add my journaling here at the bottom. And I'm going to use my gold metallic pen that I got from Michael's. And then here comes the Heidi Shine, of course, the gold, since I've got some gold tones going on some of the chipboard. Thought I would use that. And that's my final layout. I hope you guys like this. It was so much fun to make. I loved those embossed stars. So much fun to do. It's fun to do something that you haven't done in a long time, and I think it turned out really cute. I highly recommend this cut file. So many creative things that you could do with all of those stars. So let me know if you have any questions about any of the products or the techniques, anything at all, and I'll be more than happy to answer. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.